hadith that Khandak, remember Khandak was when the Ahzab, the Confederate, and the Jews of Medina, etc. And then they will, once and for all, last chance, they will destroy the Muslims. And then, upon the advice of Salman al-Farisi, the Muslims, Nabi Sallallahu and the Muslims began digging a trench around Medina. And he said, this is the tactic that was employed by the Persians to prevent the enemy from, attacking easily. And then there's some miracles that played out when they were digging, whilst they were digging. Firstly, as the hadith say, that it was a very difficult time. Sahaba Ikram were very hungry. There was a lack of food. There was a paucity of food. And amongst the Arabs, when you're very hungry, sometimes in the month of Ramadan, your stomach like burns. So they would put rocks, flat rocks, onto the stomach to cool the burning feeling. So it says, ثم قام وبطنه معصوب بحجر ولبثنا 3 أيام لا نذوق ذواقا. Imagine we fast for one day or one long summer's day, and by the afternoon our stomach is burning. Yes, Sahaba Ikram says that for 3 full days we had nothing to eat. So you can then imagine what the condition was, how the stomach was burning. So recently, I think it was the people of Gaza when there was a blockade, and they said that we don't ask you for your assistance, but we're just asking you, is it okay for us also to tie rocks on our stomach to cool the burn in our stomach? So that was, like, you can say, a tongue-in-cheek comment for the rest of the ummah, that we are dying of hunger here, our stomachs are burning, but there's nothing you can do about it, right? So whilst they were digging the rock, whilst they were digging the trench, they came across a huge boulder, and Sahaba Ikram was unable to break this, to continue with the digging of the trench. And then Nabi Sallallahu came himself and he broke this rock single-handedly. And then the Sahabi says that I perceived a weakness, and I knew he was weak because of hunger. So I went to my wife and said that I see Rasulullah Sallallahu is very, very weak, right? Let's prepare something. So he mentions there then that they prepared, they had, we're going to do all the difficult words now, inshallah, but I'm just giving the story briefly. They had a young lamb, and they slaughtered this, and they had some wheat, and they prepared. So Nabi Sallallahu then as Jabir went to Nabi Sallallahu at Khandak while they were busy digging, and invited them. So Nabi Sallallahu said, look here, don't start serving. Leave everything in the pot, etc. Wait for me to come. And then Nabi Sallallahu came, and he made dua. He put some of his saliva in it, and then he made dua. Then there was so much blessings in that one little lamb, and that one sa'a about 2.3 kilos of wheat. There was so much blessings that there was so much blessings in that the entire army ate and there was still left over. So that is the miracle. That is the miracle. So there we gave you the thrust of the story, but just a few difficult words we're going to look at. So obviously the relevance of the hadith is quite obvious. There was two miracles. One is the rock that Nabi Sallallahu single-handedly broke. He pulverized it with his own hands. And then the second one was this, I told you, that that through the barakat of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, an entire army was able to eat from that little amount of food. So let's just look at a few difficult words. فَأَرَضَتْ قُدْيَةٌ شَدِيدَةٌ. You got it's the first line, eh? قُدْيَةٌ, right? قُدْيَةٌ شَدِيدَةٌ. قُدْيَةٌ شَدِيدٌ with a dhamma on the kaf and a sakin on the dal. So normally I don't know if you ever see sometimes, when you are maybe you might have seen a construction site or something. Ismail is a construction man, mashallah. He digs foundations and everything himself, mashallah. When you're digging, you see this soft sand, but suddenly in the soft sand is like a rock, a big rock popping out. There's a big rock popping out in amongst the soft sand. So that's the thing here, that amongst the soft sand there was a rock that was popping out there. It appeared. So while and they couldn't break it, it was too big and too huge, etc. And then they went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in this year, he says, فَقَالَ أَنَا نَازِلٌ Nabi says, don't worry, I'll go, I'll sort it out. ثُمَّ قَامَ وَبَطْنُهُ مَعْصُوبٌ بِحَجَرٍ Subhanallah. He went while his stomach was tied with a, so yes, مَرْبُوطٌ بِحَجَرٍ. Rabata means to tie, to join, right? So when you're not here, I was telling Ismail that normally when you're very hungry, you might have experienced this. We don't know what is hunger. Wallahi, we don't know what is hunger. You fast in a long summer's day, then by the afternoon your stomach is burning already. So here they say for 3 days they had nothing to eat. Maybe there was water, but nothing to eat. So imagine your digestive juices start rumbling inside. So what they would do is they would take a flat rock and they would tie it to the stomach, and that would cool the burn of the hunger. So you can say ma'subun means ma'subun, it was tied, it was bandaged. Marbutun bihajarin, right, was tied. A rock was tied to keep it cool. Zawaqan means we never taste even. Zaqa yazuku means to, like, to taste something. So we never taste a tasting even. La nazuk, it is nothing. One is like, we didn't have sufficient food and there was little for us to eat. There was not even a little for us to eat. We never taste anything at all, right? So فأخذ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم المئول. So mi'wal refers to like an instrument, like a pick or something like it, or sledgehammer or whatever, right? And he beat this rock. فَآدَ كَثِيبًا. Now this word actually comes from the Quran. And here it says here, فَآدَ كَثِيبًا أَهْيَل. كَثِيبًا. The Quran speaks about كَثِيبًا مَهِيلًا, right? So so Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam beat this thing to such an extent that it became Kathiba Mahila, like a mound of powder. Kathiba Mahil refer to, so Kathib refer to like a mound, like a hill, right? And Mahila, soft sand. وكانت الجبال كثيبا مهيلا from the Quran. وكانت الجبال كثيبا مهيلا. So Nabi, so imagine this is the miracle now. A rock that Sahaba Ikram couldn't break. And here Nabi Sallallahu, despite 3 days of hunger, he beat that thing into a one shot into a mound, a sand, subhanallah. Right? So this Sahabi says, Fan kafa'atu, I then went to my wife and said, the words are here, he says, فَإِنِّي رَأَيْتُ بِالنَّبِي خَمْسًا شَدِيدًا. Right? This word also from Quran. فَمَنْ كَانَ فِي مَخْمَصَةٍ, hunger, right? I see severe hunger. Ju'an. His voice has got, when it was very hungry, weak. Even when you fast, maybe not so much now, but like in the month of when Ramadan is in summer, etc. Want to go back one page, please? Request you to go back one page. So when people ask us to turn a page, at least some people are following the Arabic. MashaAllah. There's some other bayan or something coming on. I don't know from where. Where can it be from? Huh? Did the online people hear the bayan coming on? There was a bayan coming on. Did you people hear it? Or did I only hear the bayan there? The beginning of a bayan? Did you people hear coming? Anyway, I know, right? So he could sense the weakness in the voice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. they want need to make a plan here now, right? Okay, so they also heard that, right? I don't know where that bayan came from. Anyway, so so he saw Nabi Sallam is weak, and he could perceive now that this weakness is hunger, and then he went to his wife and he said, yes, the wife says, right, uh, فإني رأيت خمسا فأخرجت جرابا فيه صاع من شعير, etc. We discussed that there, right? Dajin, okay, first before we come to that day, buhmatan, buhmatan refer to a young sheep lamb. What is buhmatan? A young sheep lamb. They say buhmatan would refer to a goat lamb and a sheep lamb, right? But here, uh, in the Shara, they say from other sources, where you learned was a sheep lamb. Then dajin refer to like a domesticated, the one that stays around the house. Like, in previous times, people have like the goat that stays around the house, or the sheep which would give milk, etc., like that. So this was our little lamb that was by the house. And then the next word there, so that you got there, walana buhmatun dajinun, right? A young domestic time. Like, oh, maybe, yeah, maybe a nice word, a better word, not domesticated, because actually all sheep and goats are already technically domesticated animals. But I think here maybe a nice word to say a pet goat or pet sheep, right? I think you could translate this as a pet sheep that would hang around the house, right? Then the next word, brumatu, refer to like a earthen pot, right? A earthen pot which was used, right? There's a day we got it, yeah. حتى جعلنا اللحم في البرمة ثم جئت. Then he say he went to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So the interesting part here is he knew there's little food. So he was telling Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that maybe that you and a few people can come. That's why he says, فَسَارَرْتُهُ. I told him quietly, right? Sauran. Then Fasar, that we got some food we prepared here. But here, Nabi Sallallahu saying, everybody comes, so you got to shock, hey, we only prepared so little food. We prepared so little food, and here Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is coming with so many people. So there's this word there, yeah. So he said, تعال أنت ونفر معك. And then, فصاح النبي يا أهل الخندق إن جابر صنع Suran. You got anything there? Suran. I got here in my kitab. It says Suran. What you got in your kitab? It says Suran. What you guys got? Ismail, what's in your kitab? Suran. Nothing. Suran. Yeah, so I'm wrong there. It said Suran, right? There's some food. فحي هلا بكم, right? So the Bishop says, لا تنزلن برمتكم ولا تخبزن أجينتكم. Do not like dish out or serve from the pot as yet, and do not bake the bread as yet until I come. I want to bless in it first. حتى أجيء until I come. وجاء فأخرج له عجينا. So she took out the عجينا referred to the dough. And then the Nabi said فبصق فيه وبارك فيه. Then he put some of his saliva in and he made a dua, right? ثم عبد إلى برمتها. Then he went to the pot, the earthen pot that had the food in. فبصق وبارك فيها. ثم قال ثم قال أدعي جاب. Now you call your person that's going to like bake the bread, etc. فل فلتخب I got, yeah, فلتخبز, right? She must, this person, whoever's going to bake, must bake with you. واقدحي من بربتك. And then اقدحي, right, من بربتكم ولا تنزلوها. Dish out a spoon from it and give, right? You dish out to each person like that. ولا تنزلوها. right? Do not put the whole thing on the table like the people must take out from themselves, right? You understood that there? Yeah, leave it. Do not take it off the stove. Leave it there and dish out for the people as they need. Are you with me? You understood that there? Page, somebody can't find the page. Check in the right page, please. Maaf about it. We're still doing yesterday's hadith, né? We're not doing a new hadith. If you're struggling to find, we're just doing some extra explanation with yesterday's hadith. Okay, right? So, iqdahi, dish out with a spoon. And then the marik, wala tunziluha, do not remove it. Alfun, and on that day we were 1,000. فأقسم بالله, right? لا لأكلوا حتى تركوا وانحرفوا. They ate and they ate until they left it, and they left it وانحرفوا, and they left. وإن ظرمتها لتغط, and then the pot was still laden with food. كما هي, like how it was. وإن عجينتها, and لا يغبز, and the flour, it could be neat like how it was before. So this is the miracle of this hadith, that despite um, over some riwayat say 1,000 people, some riwayat say 1,500 people, the whole army, they ate till they're full. Remember, they hadn't eaten for 1 or 3 days, and they were able to eat till they were full, and till the pot was full of gravy, full of salan, and the they were making, as they were making, they were making the bread as the people were coming. The dough was still exactly the same. So this is a miracle of Nabi Sallallahu. So there's two miracles there, right? The one miracle was what? The pulverizing of the rock, and the second one was the feeding of the whole army from one pet sheep and one sa'a of wheat, right? Okay, read the next hadith. Bismillah. Right, so lucky we done this. See, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وعن أبي قتادة أن رسول الله قال لعمار بن ياسر حين يحفر الخندق فجعل يمسح رأسه ويقول بؤس بن سمية تقتلك الفئة الباغية. رواه Muslimun. Narrating the authority of Abi Qatada, he said that Rasulullah said to Ammar when he was digging the Khandak, and he began wiping the dust from his head, and he said, woe to you, the son of Sumayyah, the delinquent group will kill you. Rawahu Muslimun. Imam Muslim narrates this. So luckily we've been doing this in detail. Luqman, we've been doing this in detail in our Asidus Samawiyah. So just before we look at the kitab, actually, I mean the explanation, the Shara, Ammar bin Yasir, remember, he was killed in Mushajarat Sahaba. He was killed. He joined the group of Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, right? So you people that know the backdrop, it's easy for you to understand, but I'll give a bit of explanation after just explaining the miracle. He joined the group of Hazrat Ali, and he was killed by the group of Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, right? So what is the miracle? The miracle is this, that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam accurately predicted that he will be killed by the delinquent group, right? So now, before we come to that, look at the detail. Another thing we learned from here, remember I told you people again and again that in the difference between Hazrat Ali and Hazrat Muawiyah, we, the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, says what? Hazrat Ali was on the haqq, right? And we say what? Hazrat Muawiyah was wrong. Although we do not criticize him, but we say it was a ijtihadi mistake that he applied his mind and he came to the wrong consensus. So the point I want to make, that what I want for you people in particular, what I want to show you, see, from this also, our ulama has gathered what? That Hazrat Ali was on the haq. Why? Because he referred to Hazrat Muawiyah's group that killed Ammar, referred to me as the delinquent group. Are you with me? Right. So anyway, two things there, two things of importance, of relevance. The first thing was this year. I told you that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam accurately predicted that Ammar will be killed. And the second very important thing for us, the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that say Hazrat Ali was on haq and Hazrat Muawiyah was wrong. This is our proof also. Are you with me? Are you guys with me on that day so far? Anyway, I tell Bu'sa is Bu'sa, comes from Ba'sa, like when you say like, oh, woe to this person. Remember that Sumayya radiallahu ta'ala anha was the first Shahida in Islam. She was stabbed in her pelvis. Remember when she had to make hijrat, right? That's why she's known as the first Shahida of Islam. So Fi'atul Baghiyah, yeah, referred to, I told you, why was the group of Muawiyah referred to the Fi'atul Baghiyah? Because he's the one that came out of the obedience of the Imam, was Ali, right? So those who not with us all the time, remember what had happened, just briefly, that in the time of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was killed by some, you can say terrorists in our words, in Urdu say Obash. And then after him, as Ali radiallahu was elected as the Khalifa, right? So Hazrat Muawiyah was a general in Syria. He was a general in Syria, and he was very powerful. So now it was necessary for him as the general, as the lieutenant, to give his allegiance to Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, because Hazrat Ali was the new Khalifa, right? But he said to Hazrat Muawiyah, I will not give khilafat to you, I will not give back to you, I will not come under your obedience until you do not exact revenge, qisas, for my bondsman, my family person, Hazrat Uthman radiallahu anhu, that was killed by the terrorists. So remember, Uthman and Muawiyah both were from the Bani Umayyah. So he was appointed, you can say, by the son of Uthman to exact qisas. So as Ali said, look, we will bring to book the killers of your cousin, your second cousin. But right now we are at a very precarious position. We can't do this. We need to solidify the Khilafat first. And like that, the reference came about eventually when the battle took place between Hazrat Ali and Hazrat Muawiyah. So in this battle here, we done this we done in, you'll do it in detail in Mishkaat Shareef, in the Kitab al-Fitan. We are currently also doing it in great detail. Also, we done it in our Aqidah book. This is called Mushajarate Sahaba. So we say that although Hazrat Ali was upon haq, he was right, was Muawiyah was wrong, he should have, but we will not vilify him. We said it was an error in judgment. What we said was a error in judgment. So I'll tell you, this refers to Mushajarat Sahaba, the differences that exists between the Sahaba Ikram. So we don't have to, our position of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we don't have to badmouth anyone. So most will say, because these are all the companions of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, do not make them a target of your abuse after me. فَمَنْ أَحَبَّهُمْ فَبِحُبِّي أَحَبَّهُمْ. Whoever loves them, it is because of my love that he loved them. وَمَنْ أَبْغَضَهُمْ فَبِبُغْضِي أَغَضَهُمْ. And whoever dislikes him, it is because of my dislike. So yes, most we can say is that as Muawiyah radiallahu anhu made a mistake by not giving bay'at, made a mistake by standing up against Hazrat Ali with the people of Syria. Most. Further than that, we will not say anything negative, right? Because these are the ashab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So remember, the battle of Jamal was with Hazrat Ali and Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and Siffin was with Hazrat Ali and Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala, right? Interesting fact here in the Battle of Jamal, that was, and for the same reason, when was Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu anha heard it as Ali is elected the Khalifa, and he's not exacting the revenge, she also went to battle with him with some senior Sahaba Ikram. So very sad time in the history of Islam. It's mentioned here that in the Battle of Jamal, 9,000 Muslims were made shaheed, right? That was in the Battle of Jamal. It was between Hazrat Ali and Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha. And the Battle of Siffin, which was Hazrat Muawiyah and Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Mentioned there, yes, subhanAllah. 75,000 Muslims were killed in this battle. Anyway, the main relevance of this here is this, that what? That Rasul accurately predicted that he will be killed, and then also we learned that the right party was Ali and Muawiyah was in the wrong. So the prediction of the martyrdom of Ammar, right? That is the main thrust of the hadith. Okay, read the next hadith, inshallah. Right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وعن سليمان بن سرد قال النبي سرد حين أجري الأحزاب عنه حين أجري الأحزاب عنه الآن نغزوهم ولا يغزونا نحن نسير إليهم رواه البخاري سبحان الله. Right now, Sarati of Sulaiman ibn Surad, he said that Nabi Sassam said, right? So this is Hina Ujriya. Hina is also a zarfne. When the groups, you can say, dispersed or they fled, right? Now, نغزوهم, we will fight them. ولا يغزونا, they will not fight us. نحن نسير إليهم, we will travel to them. رواه البخاري, Imam Bukhari narrates this particular riwayat. So, just change the page, please. So, what this hadith is saying, change the page. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. See, what this hadith is saying, remember, in the Battle of Badr, what happened? The Mushrikeen came to Makkah, right? Abu Jahl, we discussed this. And then you had the Battle of Uhud, right? Also the Mushrikeen came to Makkah, right? And then Ahzab, when the Mushrikeen of Makkah now, they wanted to destroy the Muslims once and for all. But thus far, in Badr, they were defeated. In Uhud, although they had the upper hand, but they did not decisively crush the might of the Muslims. So Ahzab was their last attempt. I mentioned earlier, they all the Mushrikeen of Makkah, couple of tribes around there, and they also made a deal with the Jews of Khaybar, etc. So this was their last attempt, right? Where they came together. And then Nabi Sallallahu now knew that in their final and last attempt, they were unsuccessful. They were unsuccessful. So now Nabi Sallallahu knew it is only one way after this. That now this was their last attempt. They utilized all the resources and they tried to make every type of alliance, and they were unsuccessful to break us. So now now it's finished. Now this was their last. So Nabi Sallallahu absolutely predicted that now after this they will not come back to us. We will have the upper hand. We will go to them. Hence you had um, Fath Makkah, etc. And then you had the Battle of Hunayn, etc. Right? So this is the relevance here of the hadith, the accurate prediction of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that now the tables are turned. We're going to have the upper hand. Al-an naghzuhum. We're going to go to them and fight them. Wala yaghzunana. They're not going to fight us, right? Wa nahnu nasiru ilayhim. We will travel to them. I was telling you, many groups, they gathered and they tried to form an alliance, right? And they besieged Madinatul Munawwara for over 1 month, right? And then Allah Ta'ala sent those winds where it became unbearable for them to be outside Medina. The tents were uprooted. The pots wouldn't even stay on the fire. So eventually they saw there's no way we can stay here, right? And then they fled from there. So that was the miracle. And after that, The Muslims were always on the front foot. They were never on the back foot. So yeah, Mufti Saab, the Shareef, he mentioned something interesting also. You know, I did mention to you before, I have a lot of interaction with these deviant groups. Like in particular, I told you there's a lot of commonalities between the Qadianis, those people who believe in the Prophet after Nabi, and the people who only believe in the Quran. They don't believe in the Hadith, right? They say there's no such thing. You people done Kitabul Jihad. One is Iqdami Jihad, the offensive jihad, and one is the defensive jihad, right? So defensive jihad is where the enemy attacks you, right? Right? And those Masail, you done it in detail when the Muslims are under pressure, if the regular army is unable to withstand the forces of kufr, comes in the kutub that even a woman, even the slave, without a woman, without the permission of a husband, the slave without the permission of the master, they will grab whatever arms they can and they will defend the motherland. That is the defensive jihad, right? And one is the offensive jihad, where you go to the other outside lands and you take Islam to them. Like how you said, we said with this, you go to the foreign land and then you say, look here, we want to present Islam to you, become a Muslim, you live, you are amongst us, you one of us. If you don't want to be a Muslim, you have to pay the jizya. If you don't want to pay the jizya, then you have to fight. So it's Islam, jizya or safe. That is the offensive jihad. Now the offensive jihad is certain masail there that it is farzul kifaya when the Muslim Imam, the Khalifa, has the ability, then it is necessary that always a offensive jihad is taking place. Are you with me? So that is what we in our terminology, jihad iqdami, and like in English, offensive jihad, and jihad difa'i, where you're just defending your land, right? Just an interesting fact for you, just an interesting fact that this Ummah Muhammadiyah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been on the back foot for so many years that the last offensive jihad we engage in is when the Ottoman Empire laid siege to Vienna in Hungary. There's a lot since then we've been on the back foot one way with the decline of the Ottoman Empire. Remember, the Ottoman Empire didn't just collapse. The Dawlat Ismailiyah, it went weak, 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 and like that, the West took all their lands away. So this ummah is in such a pitiable, such a sad state of affairs that for the last 350 years, we've been only defending our land. We could not expand the Muslim Islamic borders. So the last offensive jihad was when the Ottomans laid siege to Vienna in Hungary. It was about 200 or 300 years ago. Anyway, that was not offensive jihad. So since then, the Muslims have been losing land, defending land, losing land. In Chechnya, they're defending the land. In Gaza, they're defending the land. In Iraq, they're defending the land. So forget about expanding the Muslim borders. What are they doing? They're on the back foot all the time and defending the land. You understood that, Ismail? But anyway, that was just a preamble. The main point I want to make is these Qadianis and these Quran only people like the Mu'tazilah, they don't believe in offensive jihad. They only believe in defensive jihad. They don't believe that the Muslims should go out to foreign lands and take Islam to the foreign lands, etc., and present like I told you when a Muslim Amir is strong, then he prepares the army that go to the foreign land, that you accept Islam and we look after you, we protect you, or you pay the jizya and you stay as a kafir, you can protect la ikrah fi din, and you practice on your deen. And if you don't, both options are not palatable to you, then we're gonna have to fight it out. We're gonna have to fight it out. Anyway, so the main point I wanna make is here that the Sharih says that here you see this is a clear proof for those that speak out against jihad iqdami, right? There's a clear proof for those who say there's only defensive jihad in Islam. There's no offenses. What Nabi said, Al-an naghzuhum wa nasiru ilayh. From now onwards, we're going to fight them. We're going to go to them. We're not going to wait for them to come to us. We're going to go out and take the name of Allah Ta'ala to the distant foreign lands. Are you with me? So that's a bombastic and clear proof for jihad iqdami, for offensive jihad, right? Okay, but that, I just gave you a brief preamble, but you put down this in detail with Mu'ana jihad. You don't have a sheet, isn't it? Okay, read the next hadith, inshallah. قالت لما رأى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ووضع السلاح واستشرى أتاه جبرائيل ويان يقول رأسه قال Right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وأن عائشة narrate the authorities that Aisha Siddiqa لما رجع رسول الله من الخندق, when Rasulullah returned from Khandaq, it means now the groups, like, it was unbearable for them there, and they decided to disperse, right? Right, من الخندق وضع السلاح, he took off his armory, واغتسل, and he was about to have a bath, right? أتاه جبرائيل, Jibra'il, I mean, came to him, وهو ينفض رأسه, whilst he was ينفض, normally like you say, dusting his he was dusting his body, he was removing the dust from him after so many days in the battlefield, right? Right? وينفض رأسه من الغبار فقال, the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم, right? قد وضعت السلاح, did you already drop your arms, right? Right? وضعت السلاح, والله ما وضعته, but we the angels that are here to assist you, we did not drop our arms as yet, we still ready to fight, right? وضع اخرج إليهم, you must go to them, carry on from there, right? We still ready, you are ready to, like, you, the confederates, the Ahzab is left, but we still ready, right? So Nabi tells them, okay, where must we go to? فأشار إلى بني قريظة, he pointed to Bani Qurayza, right? So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam then went to them. متفق عليه. وفي رواية البخاري قال أنس كأني أنظر إلى الغبار الساطئ في زقاق بني غنم, right? موكب جبرائيل عليه السلام حين سار رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى بني قريظة. So this is a متفق على رواية. And another riwayat of Bukhari Shareef, Imam Hazrat Anas says that as though I could see. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is traveling, right? He's going now to Bani Qurayza, right? As though I can see إلى ساطعة في زقاق النبي, to the dust in the group of Bani Ghanam, right? With the riding of Jibra'il alayhi salam when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was traveling to Bani Qurayza. So remember, what had happened here was this, that Bani Qurayza was a Jewish tribe outside Medina. Bani Qurayza was a Jewish tribe outside Medina, right? So they had an agreement with the Muslims. They had a treaty, so to say, right? So when the Mushrikeen wanted to make their last stand against the Muslims, right? They said, now we're going to finish the Muslims once and for all. They thought to themselves that they need to side with the Mushrikeen because they thought the Muslims will be destroyed. What they thought? The Muslims will be destroyed. And then if the Muslims are destroyed, they sided with the wrong people. So they threw their lot in with the Mushrikeen. They thought the Mushrikeen are going to be successful. So they thought it's within their interest to stand with the Mushrikeen. But so they turned against their word. They turned traitor, so to say, right? So when the Mushrikeen left, they were now exposed. They broke their treaty. So they were now fair game for the Muslimin. Then as Jibra'il said, come now, we have to sort those people out. So Ataw Jibra'il, so it's mentioned here in the Shara, after Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had finished from Khandaq, and he was now like taking his armor off, and he was obviously for such a long time, and there were heavy winds, etc. He was going to have a bath to cleanse himself. So the Jibra'il said, you put your armory down, but we the angels, we didn't put our armory down as yet. So the relevance of this chapter, or rather the relevance of this hadith here with the chapter is the angels that had come to assist the Muslimin in the battle of Khandaq, right? Then it's mentioned here also that Nabi Sam hadn't bathed as yet. He was getting ready to bath when Jibreel Amin appeared. Mawqiba, it's binas il khafid. Sometimes uh, right? Min mawqibi Jibril, or min mawqibi Jibril. So what it means here is that as a result of Jibril Amin traveling with Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we could see the dust in the valleys. So the Zuqaqi refer to the valleys of Bani Ghanam. So he's saying, كأني أنظر إلى الغبار, I could see the dust, ساطع rising, ساطع, right, rising, في زقاق بني غنم, in the valleys of Bani Ghanam, min mawqib, because as a result of the traveling of Jibra'il. So Nabi Sallallahu was traveling and Jibra'il was traveling with him, and they were going to the Banu Qurayza because they turned crown. They threw the lot in with the mushrikeen, and it did not pay off because the mushrikeen, when the time came, abandoned them. So they were exposed to the Muslims. Right? Are you with me? So the relevance of the hadith with the chapter, the mu'jizat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was that Jibra'il and the angels were there to assist him, like they were there to assist him in the battle of Badr as well. Right. Okay, we'll switch over now to the tafsir, inshallah.